Hey everyone, welcome to the Unstoppable Domains workshop. A big welcome to Adriel from Unstoppable Domains and a big welcome to Charlie if he's on the call from Unstoppable Domains. They're both going to be helping you out. They're going to do a little kind of overview of Unstoppable Domains, and then they're going to run through some questions with you. I'll be on links, throwing some interesting links in the side. So long, I'm going to throw in two documents. One is the kind of tech docs from Unstoppable Domains. So if you want to open that up, you can. And the second one is going to be, give me 1 second. This is going to be the onboarding kind of doc as well. So if you want to open those up, that'll be awesome. But yeah, a big welcome to Adriel. Pretty much over to you. Enjoy.
Thanks, Jake, and thanks everyone for joining us today. We're super excited to have you here and super excited to share a little bit more about Unstoppable and specifically login with Unstoppable. As Jake mentioned, I'm Adriel. I'm a product manager on Unstoppable Domains, and we're going to take you into a deeper dive of the login product today. So start things off. Our goal right now is to get you started as quickly as possible with login. So with that in mind, obviously Charlie shared with you some links, but we want to get you jump started towards earning some rewards. So as part of this hackathon, we're asking you to integrate login with Unstoppable on your app or to submit a PR to merge this feature as a login option on your favorite DeFi or NFT dApp. All right. We're giving away prizes for the top 3 uses of login, as well as some general prize pool giveaways for some qualifying teams. And aside from those links that Charlie posted, that Jake posted, the QR codes and links here on the right are what you need to get started right away. All right, so feel free to check them out. We want to get you on your way. And I'll be showing this slide again, so if you miss it now, you'll see it later. And then of course, we'll be sharing the deck. But before diving into what login is and why it's important, I think it helps to talk about what we do at Unstoppable Domains. So at Unstoppable, we envision a future where people benefit from the value they create online, not just companies. All right. And so the way we see it, to help shape that future, we're building products that return the power to the people. All right. So we're working to give you the right to control your data, govern your data, and ultimately make your own choices when it comes to that data. All right. Now, the way we're doing this is, our products in a way are combining to form the foundation for an identity system for Web3. All right. And at that core is our NFT domains, which work to simplify crypto payments. All right. So with our domains, what we've done is replace hard to remember cryptocurrency addresses with a human readable name. All right. So think about that. No more forgetting or mistyping a long address. You've got a human readable domain that you own. It's not rented like other domains, and the domain is stored in your wallet, just like a cryptocurrency. All right. Now you've got the domain, like what's next, right? Well, now you can send, receive, and store cryptocurrencies and NFTs with that now easy to remember domain. And of course, there's more to it. It doesn't stop there. You can also use that domain to log into apps and websites, which is where we'll spend the bulk of our talk today. But you can also set up gallery style websites for your NFTs and build out your own profile pages, which allow you to share information across social media and Web3. And of course, again, you being the owner of your information and how you choose to share it. All right. Speaking of information and data in general, I think it's a great segue into talking about own data. Right now, we're in a predominantly centralized world where Web2 apps own all user data. So effectively, you give your personal data in exchange for using the app, right? And there are a number of challenges that come along with that. One is that you don't control how your data is being used. With Web2, you're basically the product, right? And another big issue is one that we've all experienced, is having to start from scratch every time we adopt a new app or innovation. Basically, what I'm saying is like our network and our reputation does not come with us, right? But through our domains, we're working to build a world where you can bring not just yourself, but your own data to help shape your experiences across the web. All right, so how are we going to get there? I love this graphic. We see login with Unstoppable as a great first step towards the promise of decentralized identity. All right, what it does, it helps mobilize the power of our NFT domains, your domains. So basically all the capabilities that we have available right now, the metadata you can associate with the domain profiles, and ones that will continue to build out in the future, that will help you in owning your Web3 identity. Now, before getting into how login works, I think it helps to give an overview of the benefits. And we'll start with the apps, right? Apps are able to provide their users a simple and easy authentication method, right? Very similar to SSO. They can request personal data the user owns to provide a customized experience. Right, now that same permission data can be used to better engage with your users, provide the opportunity for one-to-one communication, however you see fit, whatever best meets your needs. And it's very simple and safe to use, all right? I think a really big plus here is it frees dApps from having to maintain a database of user profile information. So essentially, the user comes with their information and they choose what they share with you, and you can request what they share with you, right? But you don't have to build out that back end. And we touched upon these benefits a little bit earlier, but to recap for the users enjoy the benefit of a privacy-forward, universal sign-up and login experience that can go across all applications where they 100% own and control their identity and their data. Okay, let's show an example of how you can implement login. We'll show a partner app integration here. What you're seeing is the Cook Finance app. We definitely welcome you to visit their app using the QR code at the bottom right corner, or go by going to cook.finance. But once a user clicks on sign on, they see Unstoppable Domains as an option for login. You see it there amongst other wallet connects. Once they click on the button, that they're presented with a modal to enter their human readable domain. Clicking continue takes them to a screen where they connect with the wallet associated with that domain. After confirming their account, they are shown what data is currently being requested by the app. That's what you see there in yellow. And after choosing to connect, they're logged in. In this case, you can see they're logged in because their domain is at the top right corner. So effectively, their domain is their username. That's pretty cool. And we shared earlier, we are always looking for ways to improve our products, right? With domains being at the center of that. And Humanity Check is the latest addition to our login product. I think the easiest way of putting Humanity Check is it's a way for people to verify their online identity without having to reveal anything about themselves to the applications and the services they use. I'll get into some details on what that actually means coming up here. So how does Humanity Check work, right? So first off, users can access Humanity Check, through the domain profile included on our website or through the login experience. Now, while they can always access Humanity Check through domain profiles, an app needs to support Humanity Check in order for it to be included in the login experience. And when you're setting up your app and your configuration, that's one of the scopes you can select, that Humanity Check be included. The identity verification process is managed by our partner, Persona, and they request a series of photos and images. They use these images to verify the person is who they claim to be, and then finalize verification and sign the message with your wallet. As part of that verification process, Persona generates a random ID number, and that random ID is what's passed to Unstoppable and the app. Nothing more. All right, so it basically equates to pass or fail. Both Unstoppable and the app requesting Humanity Check get zero information other than you passed or failed. All right, so none of that personal information that you're providing in the process, which we'll go through right now, is provided to them. So let's see how that looks like for the user. So as mentioned, a user can access Humanity Check either through their domain profile or through a login. Right here, we're showing how they both could look. The bottom left image shows how someone has been confirmed or verified that they've passed Humanity Check. All right. Now, once they've selected to go through Humanity Check, they're guided through a series of steps. That first step starts with the country their government ID is from. Next, they're provided a list of photo ID options to choose from. In this case, for this example, we're going to choose driver's license. And they're prompted to provide a photo of the front of the driver's license. All right. Then they're then asked to confirm the quality of the photo. And once confirmed, they're going to be requested for a selfie. Right. And so in that selfie process, the persona asks or gives some prompts to scan the user's face. And after following the prompts, they're given a confirmation message and prompted to complete verification. And that's it. They've gone through Humanity Check. Now I want to pause here again. This has come up a couple different times. I don't want to make it crystal clear that neither Unstoppable or the app that's requiring Humanity Check ever see or collect this personal information, and that a user can always choose to request that data be deleted, right? So we'll talk about that again, but just want to make sure that we share that one more time. So login provides a number of great features for the user, right? We talk about being able to basically the portability of your profile and through an easy SSO type process. But as an app, you'd like to access some of that data to better engage with your users. What I'm showing here is a high-level overview of the scopes currently supported through login. The list is relatively short, but we are actively working right now on expanding scopes because we feel it'll play a huge part in how apps customize experiences for users. Obviously, one thing is the domain profile on the user side. The other side is for dApps to be able to use these scopes to customize their experience. And right here on the right, I took a screenshot of how the scopes are being requested during the login process. We saw something very similar earlier when I was going through the cook.finance example. Now, as mentioned, these scopes will grow over time, and they'll definitely help to shape users' identity as they go from app to app. Ultimately, they'll own and manage their data through their domain profile, and we want to start showing that a little bit to you right now. So here's an example of a user's domain landing page. And this is through our ud.me portal. All right, so this is what you're seeing right now is what's publicly available. Right, so it shows only what they've chosen to share publicly. But they manage that information through their Unstoppable Domains account by updating their domain profile. All right, that domain profile can include their email addresses as well as their social accounts. And I want to call out that users are required to verify ownership of social accounts so you can ensure that no one else is adding your information to their domain profile, right, which is super important. And also the information collected through Humanity Check, as we talked about earlier, is not stored on your domain profile. All that we know is whether you've passed, and that's all we have, and that's all we're really showing. Again, that's completely separate and not given to us nor the requesting application. All right, so now that we've shown you how it works, you'll want to figure out how to start integrating with login. And to do so, we've made it really simple. It's basically 4 steps. The first thing is to get your client credentials. All right, and we've got a dedicated client dashboard where you create an account and start the process. Once you're there, you can also, the next step is to choose your integration path. All right, we built out guides for the most popular ways to integrate. So we've got guides for with and without pop-up, for Web3 React, Web3 Modal, Morales, and Node.js. And we're just about ready to launch Web3 Onboard here very shortly. All right. The third step is for you to configure the login UI. Right? How do you want that to work and look for you? And then last, I can't emphasize this enough, right? We want you to connect with us to help promote your application. As Jake mentioned, we've got Charlie in the chat here too. We have a team that's really eager to work with you and to help make sure that we promote your application. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We'll provide more information on how to connect in a little bit. And on the right here again is that'll take you directly to our login technical docs, which is also the same as the link that Jake provided at the top of the call. All right. So, well, I've been remained particularly not too technical in the discussion. I think it is helpful to provide at least a view of the back end and how things are working in the background during this process. And again, all this information is in the technical docs as well. But as we showed in the Cook Finance example, a user first chooses to log in with their domain, right? They type in the domain. The app does a lookup of that domain to the blockchain, which then returns the owner address along with the auth server URL, right? The user is then redirected to the auth server URL, who then requests a signature. And once the signature is completed, the auth server returns the auth token and resource server URL. The app then uses that auth token to request metadata from the resource server, which then returns the metadata to the app. And the process is complete. The user is finally logged in. All right, as I mentioned, yes, there are a number of steps here happening in the background, but as we showed earlier, the experience for the user is pretty seamless, right? Especially if they're used to other forms of connecting crypto. And we're always looking for ways to streamline it even more and improve it for them. And to call out again, as an integration partner, you've got a number of different ways for it to integrate, and we'll continue to support you and seek ways to improve that for you as well. All right, so as you can imagine with this being out now, and I should have mentioned this launched back in January of this year, and we've received some great feedback and of course have continued to improve on things, but I'd like to cover some of the more commonly asked questions. To start with, login is free, all right? It is free to use and free for apps to integrate. We also have a number of ways to help you integrate and promote, as I mentioned earlier. So again, please reach out to us for guidance. Logging with Unstoppable is different from logging in with a wallet for, I think, a few key reasons. One, it's using your human readable domain. It's not a complicated wallet number or address. Two, users and apps can choose how to share their off-chain data, which is not available through a wallet. And three, your identity and login is associated with your NFT domain, right? And so that has the added benefit of being able to transfer to a different wallet if you were to choose to do that later on in the future, okay? Now, as mentioned, we're continuing to improve the user experience, which includes how users choose the information they want to share with each app. You got a view of the current domain profile page, and we have plans to introduce additional metadata that users can share, and of course, for apps to use, especially to enrich their experience. And lastly, I want to call out here, users currently cannot create accounts or acquire a domain through the login experience, but we're actively working on this, and actually we'll have an update on this very, very soon. So we're excited to be able to offer that. Of course, keep you posted on when that becomes live, because I think it's a great way to help folks get domains in their hands and start using that in login, but just become more familiar with how things work in this new space. All right, humanity check. Here's a few FAQs on that. When it comes to users' personal data, our identity verification partner stores the images and data used to verify, and the random ID created during verification is off-chain. All right, now that being said, Unstoppable and the apps, again, we do not have access to the personal data. We only have access to the randomized ID. And that's all we need to verify your humanity after you've gone through that process. And lastly, this is more of a, just kind of giving a view of how the space is evolving and where it is at least for now. For us to be fully decentralized, we need an identity verification partner that is decentralized. So while that's currently not available, we are definitely open to opportunities, especially to work with new partners. And we welcome suggestions from you guys in the community. So part of your correspondence with us, how you interact with us, we're definitely looking for opportunities there. And if you got ideas, please share them. I'd like to share a couple of testimonials from users and partner apps. The users here in particular are calling out some interesting use cases for a humanity check. They include helping to support reward programs. We're hearing a lot of interest around this right now. There's also a significant buzz around using humanity check for NFT marketplaces. So creators can be verified, which is exciting. And on the partner front, we've got 2 testimonials here from Cook Finance and Atlantis World. There's a lot here. I don't expect for you all to read that, but I guess the main takeaway is that for DeFi, login and humanity check make it much easier to onboard users and to ensure they can meaningfully engage with their most important users, right? When we're talking about that, it's obviously to ensure that someone is who they are, and then of course the scope's available for you to pull in interesting information around that person, their profile, that you can later use to customize their experience. All right, so I'm gonna come back. Yeah, here we are. And come back to why we're all here, right? So as part of this hackathon, we're asking you to integrate Login with Unstoppable on your app, or the alternative is to submit a PR to merge this feature as a login option on your favorite DeFi or NFT dApp. Again, we're giving away prizes for the top 3 uses of login, and we have some general prize pool giveaways as well. Again, the QR codes and links here, some of them are exactly the same as what Jake posted here in the chat. But once you get this deck, or you can look at it now, we really, really recommend that you start looking at them and see how easy it is for yourself to get started. We also want to provide you some credit to buy and try out your own NFT domain. What we do is we ask that you join the conversation on our Discord community and follow us on Twitter. By the way, you don't have to do that to use to get your free NFT, but we definitely would love to hear from you. So please join us on Discord and on Twitter. We've got a lot of great content out there, and the engagement is great with the community. And we want to make sure we receive your feedback. Again, not only on how, whatever challenges you may be having in terms of integration, but also some of the cool ways that you're using it or ideas that we may consider. All right. If you have any questions on how to best partner with us, I suggest you reach out to Charlie or Ash. Their information there is at the bottom. I think Jake has also added some of my own information on there, but we're really, really looking forward to hearing from you. With that, I'll stop and open up for questions.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Adriel. I'm just going to read a couple that were asked in the beginning, and then we'll open up the floor. The first one was, can the user edit the data permissions in the login process?
Can the user, so when, as part of the dApps integration, they choose which scopes they're going to be requesting of you. So you can opt in, you can choose which of those scopes you want to opt in for. I think that answers that question.
Perfect. And then is this based on ZK or zero knowledge?
Charlie, do you want to answer that one? Sorry, Charlie is in the, he knows a little bit more about that than I do.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Is this based on zero knowledge?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think there's some inspiration there. But yeah, I'm not exactly, we could get our CTO to answer that one. He's the genius who built it.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to give that answer right away, but yeah, we probably can, whoever wants a little bit more details on that, we can. It's a little bit more complicated answer, so go ahead, sorry.
And how do you collect real world data without knowing about the user?
So in our case, the domain profile is completely managed by you. So you only give what you want to give us, right? And again, that information is not immediately 100% made public, but rather you choose what's shared publicly. And then on top of that, when you actually log into these different applications, again, you get to choose what you opt in terms of what you share with them. So when you buy your domain, you can purchase your domain using your existing, you can basically create your account using your existing wallet, right? So again, we're not collecting any information from you unless you choose to share that with us. And in most cases, that's the most we get is when someone chooses to create an account with their email. And so that would be their email. But obviously there are other ways for you to create an account and buy your domain without having to give us any information. Okay.
And then is this available in different languages?
As in the language support? Ooh, that's a good question. Let me get back to you. I don't know the full list of languages that we currently support. I know we've got a couple that are out there, but if someone, I'll make a note of that. Give me a quick second. I want to make sure that I include that in future presentations.
And then is there?
I'll just mention, oh, sorry, I'll just jump in real quick and say for the zero knowledge question, the users are signing with their private key. So when they're permissioning data, they're using the private key of their wallet because they're choosing MetaMask or Wallet Connect as a sub connector. And then for the verification piece, I would consider that similar to zero knowledge in that neither the DApp nor Unstoppable Domains are getting that PII. So it's essentially double blind where the DApp is getting a JSON token that says, yes, this person has done a government ID verification without actually sharing any of the information. So it's very similar to zero knowledge.
Thanks, Charlie.
And then if we integrate with a third party and it collects users' KYC information storing it, although they will delete on request, won't that compromise the DeFi functionality to some extent as users are required to share information to a centralized party? If you want to read that in the chat, you can as well.
Yeah, I can answer that one. So that's certainly something we think of all the time. And presently, there's really no way to do this without someone storing information on a server, right? Somebody has to do it. And right now for us, that's Persona, because that's their whole business is storing private information. They have a bunch of great partners. I'm sure we've all used them on different apps like Postmates. So for today, somebody has to do it. We're not interested in collecting that information. Neither is the DApp. That's why we set up the system the way it is. And longer term, what we're envisioning is that each user will have their own server. So eventually Web3 will mean you as a user can store your private information on your own server that only you have access to using your private key. And then you can permission that data when you want to. But we're just not quite there yet. So for today, somebody has to store that information. We don't want it to be us. The DApp doesn't want it to be them. So we have to go with a provider that has excellent security like Persona. And while Persona is our first provider, we're going to take a layered approach. So eventually we'll have 10 or so different providers and users will be able to choose which provider they want to go with, or it could be multiple. So you could essentially build a trust score. And if you're a DeFi app offering a very sensitive product, you could have someone required to go through multiple verification providers before they get access to your platform. So yeah, it's a tough question. We want it to be totally decentralized, but it's just a bit impossible as of today, but we're certainly looking for the solution and hoping to roll it out as soon as we find it.
I hope that, yeah, I think it answered the question. Thanks, Charlie. Are there any more questions? Shoot away. This is your time to ask. If I missed any ones up above, please send it again. I think it's pretty cool. It was a great presentation. It's a pretty cool. Oh, there we go. Follow up with the above question. When you mean, sorry, I think what you mean data, do you want to read that maybe?
Yeah, I think you're asking, is that question specific to this feature state that Charlie's kind of laying out where the user has their own server? Just to clarify, or are you speaking, are you asking specifically about Persona? Both, right? So Persona has, when we're talking about the current information, so basically those images and that bit of information that's being asked through the verification process, that's being stored only on Persona storage, right, on their server. Okay, and the future state that Charlie's talking about, that I think that could take a couple of different forms, right? We're not there yet, but we definitely want identity to be a part of that, and for login to be what helps mobilize that, right? So I think as there are become more and more decentralized options that we're talking about, I think that that concept of the personal server will take shape.
I can answer that question, Carl. Yeah, it will be posted on YouTube tomorrow. Sorry about the delay from yesterday's one. We're just waiting for the slides from Rahat, and then we'll post it. But Unstoppable Domains will be up fairly soon tomorrow because we've got the slides already. When you talk about private keys, do you mean the individual's private keys that owns the crypto? I think if so, do you store that key or does the individual need time to pass the key every time to access or log in?
Yeah, that would be the individual's private key that owns the crypto. So typically the MetaMask or Wallet Connect. And then we are not storing. Unstoppable Domains will never store private keys. that's on the user. So we use that type of security for login to ensure that permissioning is done by the user and who owns the NFT domain and the wallet. How many requests per day? I don't think there's a limit. If you think you can hit that limit, we'd love to chat with you.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great problem to have. But no, I don't think we have right now a limit on that.
Yeah, and just to reiterate on that point, the service is totally free. And as Adriel touched on, free domain distribution is coming. We've got a couple partners signed up to be our kind of guinea pigs for the test. And that means that anyone that integrates login can offer free domains to their users. And we'll also have a premium purchase flow. So a free domain will be a little bit longer with maybe 7 or 8 characters and a number. And then if your users want to purchase a premium domain that starts at $5, they'll be able to do it all natively using login.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about that, Charlie. Thanks for bringing that back up. That should be out relatively soon. And I should mention too, as part of that, so if you were to integrate today before that free login option were to be made available, it's a no-code update to get back up and running and be able to provide free domains. So just so you all know, we're making it as easy as possible for you to update along with us.
And the question regarding the private separate key, we will not provide separate keys. We think that'd get a little complicated for users. We want them to use the wallet that they're comfortable with, which at this point is MetaMask most of the time. So yeah, and for one would not like to use it every time. Could you expand on that? I'm curious what you mean by that, because it's pretty fast. And you're not exposing it, right? The private key is never being exposed.
And we could definitely expand on that question if you want to think about that a little bit more. We could definitely, yeah, we wouldn't be spinning up another key if that's what you're talking about. It's still going to remain the wallet's private key. We definitely have a suite of integrations for you to be able to log in through or to interact with us. But what we're speaking about today is a product called Login with Unstoppable. That is basically how you can help your users authenticate using their NFT domains. And so that's basically that's the specific use case we're talking about right now. Basically a form of integration for signing on. And there's a number of different integration pathways that we support. Does any of Unstoppable's domain data get stored on chain? So I guess, is this like, does any of, you talking about like the domain profile information? This is just to Alfred, I think is. Yeah, so the domain profile information, there are only some key pieces of information that are stored on chain right now. But I would say that our domain profile is pretty light right now, which as you saw earlier was just like primarily email and social account. So as we begin to expand the type of information that you could potentially share with us, then we'll evaluate what would make sense to be on chain versus right now, which is primarily off chain. This has been great. I really love all the activity, all the questions.
There we go. There's another one.
No, you do not need a new wallet address for each domain.
For how many private keys can be supported under one login? I think it's just one private key per domain, right, Adriel?
And if is there any kind of technical support kind of the hackers can get throughout the hackathon when kind of integrating the domain? What would be the best way to contact you?
We've got some information shared here. Everything that you need to do to either get started or interact with us has been presented and it'll be a part of these slides, right? So again, that we primarily are answering a number of questions over Discord. So if you join the Discord community, that's a great way to get in contact with us and we can help you along your way, as well as some of the Telegram information that we shared here with both Charlie and Ash. And then I'm always open to getting feedback over Twitter as well.
Yeah, and on our Discord, there's a login specific support channel. So I would recommend you ping that channel and you'll get a quick answer there. And then of course, my information is at the bottom here and we have Ash's as well. So feel free to reach out to us anytime.
Thanks. there's another question in the chat.
Do we provide a dummy key for testing? Yes, it's stored in the wallet. That's what, these are two separate questions here, but.
Yeah, very similar to ENS, just a little different business model essentially. And ENS has rental fees, and an unstoppable domain is buy once, own forever. And we have 10 different extensions, .nft, .wallet, .bitcoin, so on. So a little less, a little more chain agnostic, I would say, than ENS.
I like it too. At the end of the day, it's yours, right?
Okay, if we don't have any more questions, I'm sure we'll call it there. Every time I say that, normally someone asks a question. Yeah, just I'll have a quick thank you so much, Adriel. Thank you so much, Charlie. Appreciate you answering the questions and great presentation. Hopefully we get a lot of projects that use unstoppable domains, and it's really cool. Thank you so much for also throwing your contacts out there. We really appreciate it. The recording is going to be available, and yeah, so it'll be available tomorrow morning. That's if you're based in the UK. If not, it'll be by tomorrow. Next 24 hours will be up. Yeah, so thank you so much, Charlie, and thank you so much, Adriel.
Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Excited to see what everybody builds.
Yeah.
Lovely. Cheers. Thanks. Bye.